This is a live broadcast from the NOAA ship Okeanos Explorer.
That's 90 right there.
We are currently in the Johnston Atoll Unit of the Pacific Remote Islands Marine National Monument. And this is a monument that encompasses a bunch of different islands and atolls across the Pacific, to include Halland and Baker, Jarvis, Wake Island, Palmyra, Kingman, and where we are right now, Johnston Atoll. And we have the bottom in sight, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to wait on our typical introduction. We're a little late offering it, but I like what I'm seeing already. There's some animals on the bottom and hard consolidated substrate.
Possible balsamo sponge.
My name is Chris Kelly. I'm with the University of Hawaii School of Ocean and Earth Science Technology, and my co-host here this morning
is... Good morning. This is Chris Ma from the Smithsonian's National Museum of Natural History.
And the ROV team is probably not in a position to do introductions, but when they do have a chance, we'll have them introduce themselves. And to the left of me also, we've got
Nicola Rodriguez from the University of Hawaii at Hilo.
All right, you ready to
Thank you for joining us. We are on a seamount that's located southeast of Johnston Atoll itself, and we're on a ridge that's extending southeast from this flat top seamount, which we call guyot.
I don't think we're swinging, but
so that's why you see kind of narrowing terrain going off to the left and right, because we are presumably going to be on a fairly narrow ridge for most of the day and going up the slope along this ridge.
Okay, I'm coming down.
Copy.
We're going to be diving at depths of 2,400 or I think 2,500 meters approximately, and we'll be going up to 2,300 and some odd meters depending on where we finish up. And what does that translate to miles, Chris?
I don't know, Chris, because I am not an android.
It's over a mile, I can tell you that much.
Calling this bottom.
Sure it is, isn't it?
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Can you tell me how many Washington monuments it takes to get from the bottom where we are to the top of the ocean?
Oh, 23 maybe?
Actually, it's about half that.
So what did we end up...
so I actually worked it out that 1,000 meters is about 5.5 Washington monuments from tip to bottom. So at our depth, that's actually about 11 Washington monuments if we stack them from bottom to tip, from the bottom all the way to the top. So it's quite a ways down.
Bridge RV
we're seeing pilots are not in a position to do zooms yet, but I'll just point out a few things. We've got a chrysogorgid coral that's right on the left of your screen, and I'm willing to put money on it that it's Pleurogorgia. And I haven't seen any other opinions yet from our onshore participating scientists. But we will undoubtedly take a peek when they're all settled in.
I think you could partially deploy side lowers, no problem. And then, you can do uppers, and we'll just be careful.
I have nearly 10 meters of heave, which may make tether management a little difficult.
Copy that.
We're okay right now. We're just going to have to stay on top of that.
Just so if you folks are new to the Okeanos expeditions, or even if you're new to what we've been doing on this cruise, we are exploring new places that nobody has gone before, and while there was one dive on the seamount up on the summit that's quite a ways to the northwest, nobody has ever dove anywhere else near this location. And the one single dive was conducted in 2015 on another cruise.
How's that video?
And Scott France, who's on the line for these expeditions, he was on that particular cruise and participated on board on that dive, and we'll get him to talk a little bit about it later on, just as a contrast to what we see today. There is a fish, I think. Wow, good start. Bruce Mundy, are you on the line by any chance this
3.8
morning?
dissolved oxygen. That's pretty high, right?
What is that?
3.8.
Oh,
Yeah, it comes up again at this depth. That's expected.
All right. He's not on the line, so I'm going to wing it myself what these IDs are. And I think this is a fish in the Cuskiel family, Ophidiidae, and I'm pretty sure that this guy is in the genus Basozetus. We don't see very many of these things, but they have a distinctive head. And that would be my
Sorry, but
guess
it's
on them.
impartial.
Yeah, thank you, pilot. That was
Too far away from you. It's up there.
that was a
It's a prop wash.
quick one, right before they were even ready to go. We appreciate that.
Copy that. All right, watch lights. Yeah, we're just about there. We're just adjusting some lights. And I
Okay.
think we're ready to start the dive.
Well, let's take a look at the coral directly below the lasers. And
Yeah, copy
see what we
that.
got there.
Or rock box.
Yeah, I saw that. And that, or sorry, co-pilot, move it
The drawers
chance.
out a little bit. Yep, I'll get that next.
Yeah.
Attention all hands. The ship's door will be open for the next 10 minutes.
All right, video, if you want to
Ship's
come
door
on
will
in.
be open for the next 10 minutes.
Oh, the rock box is open.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Do you want me to
If the
try
drawer
to get that?
is, see if you can, and if not, we'll just use the arm.
Also got a
can
stock
do it
sponge
with my
up to the
All right, but
upper
if you wanna come on
left.
Co-pilot with the lights, I'm seeing two
So
harsh
Scott, it
spots
looks
in the
like a
front.
chrysogorgia to me. What do you think?
A little bit rotate right on this
I would
shot.
agree with that assessment, Chris. I believe this is the genus Florigorgia. We've been seeing
There's
this
something on this
on
fin
numerous
to the right,
occasions
off
on the
screen.
dives when we get down to these depths. And
Yeah.
I think I
Yeah,
noticed the
I'm gonna try
last
to do
time
it
we
with
talked
my
about this genus that prior to 2015, we thought this was extraordinarily rare. And these
So you're looking at
Capstone
video.
Yep.
Okeanos Explorer expeditions have allowed us to understand that it's actually got a fairly wide distribution in this area, and it is not an uncommon coral. It's an octocoral. You can see the polyps there have 8 short tentacles, pinnulated. That's what those little side branches are. So that's one of the ways you can tell them apart from other corals, and sea anemones, and black corals, and so on. I will leave it at that.
Great, thank you very
A
much.
little small anemone is growing on the main stem where it connects to a branch, the sort of orangey-colored polyps.
Yeah, and it looks
Okay,
like it
video.
has its tentacles that retracted.
bring-
We were trying to figure
try
that
to
out.
widen it
But
up.
yeah, thank you very much. That was the voice of Scott France from
Gone
the
full
University
screen.
of Louisiana,
Copy that.
Lafayette. And then, pilot, just a couple things. There was a stock sponge
down,
up to
full
the
screen.
upper left. And the other thing, too, is
Oh, sorry, did you want to?
these rocks, if you see an angular one here, there look like some possible
Lasers
early
are clear.
grabs.
Copy that, co-pilot.
Lasers off.
Copy that, watch leads.
Okay, video's clear.
All right. Sorry, watch leads. So what's next? So I heard rocks, and then
Sponge up
Yeah,
left.
if we could get the lasers once they're done getting the colony shot on this.
Copy that, co-pilot.
Is it back on?
Please.
Lasers back on.
One thing I'm mildly worried about is this could be a very consolidated ridge. You never know, but it's always great to get one rock in the box before you move on to make sure you've got something for the geologists.
Copy that. Does anything stick out?
Well, that angular one to the left, I don't know if it's too small, but it might be a little small. I was thinking if we could get some lasers on it, we'd get a better idea. That's then down from the lasers and over to the left.
Yeah, coming up on it.
Not bad. Does it have girth, pilot? Does it look like it's a little thick?
It looks a little, I think, on the thinner side to me.
Okay, well then let's skip if that's what you think.
Copy.
All right, and then there was a just maybe if we can keep our eye open and you see something, that would be great.
Yeah, copy that.
It
There's
was
a white sort of cross-shaped structure on the right, up to the right, to the on the center of the cliff
Level with lasers now.
there.
On the
Also,
right. He's looking at a small white thing.
Oh, it's
Real-
more.
yeah, it's a
Yeah,
small.
I wonder if we could do a snap zoom on the sponge. I recognize it, and then we'll hunt for
I'm
his.
not sure. Video come partial.
It's like a white spot on the rock. Right.
There we go.
Right on the edge of the screen.
Not sure
Really
what
small.
that was.
One of those snap sponge on the coral sponge on the left.
I don't think it's
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it's a pteropod shell.
Is it in view? Watching it? Sorry, I'm still not. seeing
Yeah,
it.
no, I think it's that thing on right next to the right side laser.
Oh,
I think
okay.
it's just a little bit of stuff for a pteropod shell or something.
Yeah, copy that.
Yeah.
All
We
right, we'll
can,
go back to sponge.
Yeah, sorry about that. Back to the sponge.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's kind of
I
getting
think
low
this
on
is a
reading.
regular denizen of the
Keep a
deep,
high
but
delta
it's always good to
tight.
confirm.
Copy that.
You know from time.
Copy. All right, video. Come on in, sponge.
Chris Kelly, I wanted to follow up on that observation of the Plurigorgia. You noted at the. I'll wait till you talk about the sponge.
Yeah, so I think we're looking straight down at the top of Bolosoma here, which if you've been following the Okeanos expedition, this is a fairly common glass sponge, a stocked glass sponge in the family Euplectellidae. It could also be Caulophacus, but I'm not positive. Actually, I'm
More
gonna,
stability possible.
Bolosoma's in
Yeah, come
the
partial.
yeah,
what family?
Bolosoma's in the Euplectellidae.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Sec.
And I think we're okay with that. We do have a
Happy with that?
Yeah, we're good.
All
Okay.
right, video. If you're happy, then.
We've got tether issues here.
Was there an associate on it? I
Yeah, there's
didn't
some
know.
little
I'm gonna
amphipods
try
on the
to
surface.
Oh, is that right?
Starboard
Yeah.
to try to straighten this out.
Do you want another zoom science? Are you happy?
I'm okay, but if video wanted to see if they can get a nice amphipoid shot, that would be okay with me, certainly.
Yeah, looks like there's a couple of small crustaceans.
Yeah, sorry, video. It's on a vertical. It's not a good toe spot.
That are living on the surface.
I guess if you can't get it, we can move on.
Yeah, just come on.
So we got some dead stalks of things that used to be here, and that's always a good sign, because that kind of indicates that multiple generations of animals have found the site to be favorable and actually grew to a pretty good size to leave stumps like that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Every heave.
It does, however, pose a bit of a challenge as we're looking for different kinds of animals, and we're drawn to the
over,
stumps
under,
Yeah,
and over.
by our search image.
that's true. They look like anemones and starfish and
don't think
urchins
there's
and all
any
types
way
of
to do
things.
all
about it.
sorts of
While we're at this delta,
interesting animals.
if I pull forward, it might pull.
Oh, and there's, I
straighten
think,
it out, but I would say for
looks
now,
like
just
there's a
keep an eye on
brittle
it
star
and
up
look
to the
for
right.
Make sure Kingston for him.
Where is that?
Something
was on the
off
rock
to
that
the
just
right.
passed on the right side of
Is
the
it
screen.
concerning? Should we search out? You better. You're paying more attention to it than I am, so let me know. Copy. All right, Washington. Sorry, what was next?
This brittle star that's on the right.
Little star on the right. Oh yeah, copy. I see it.
We can just snap zoom it.
Copy that. Video snaps in.
Oh, it's not a brittle star. It is, in fact, a crinoid. First one of the day. This is a feather star. These are little echinoderms related to sea stars. They are filter feeders. They use their feathery arms to capture food as the water particles bring them by. And it looks like some of the pinnules, some of the structures coming off of the arm, might have eggs or some kind of reproductive materials in the sort of the part of the arm nearest to the cup. So, interesting. Okay, very good, thank you.
Copy that. Video whenever you're happy.
And as always, I thank Annie at Video for pointing out things that I would not normally have seen.
Alright, I'll come up a little bit, see if we can straighten it out at all. We're looking, oh, you turned way starboard. Copy. Whatever you think's safe with tether.
We've got our first unbranched coral. Maybe we could do a zoom on this. We always
Yeah, video come on.
look at the
Wanna sit down
bamboos
and
because
get
they're hard to
close?
discern until you get a good look at the polyps. Where is
Yes.
it? Oh, yeah, okay. Thank you, Roland, for seeing that. Appreciate it. All right, Scott, you're on.
I am looking at a close-up of a bamboo coral. As you have said, we are studying the polyps, and I can see between the tentacles, the bases of the tentacles, there are some needles that are protruding. And let's see, I can't quite make out anything else. Maybe there's some small rods running down in the main body. A little bit hard to see.
I think you're right. I think there are a few.
The bases of some of these polyps, you can see there's little clusters of white grape-like structures. Those are probably eggs developing in the base of the polyp. So it's unclear to me at this point if this is I4, clade I4, or if this is something different. And I would say I4. Oh, I see. Okay. I would say I4 if the only sclerites we see are those between the tentacles. But that's a really nice view now. I don't think it is I4. And I'm not certain at this point what other clade. There's a number of possibilities, Chris, and I know you don't like to hear that. Let's just call it lepidisis for the time being.
Oh, Scott, okay. No, that's fine. he's working.
That's not very satisfying.
Tilt for full screen.
No problem. Lepidisis. Go ahead.
Hold.
I just want to follow up on the Plurigorgia observation. So you had noted that we had a dive on the same major
very
feature,
stable. Let's
but
go in
to
for
the
a center
north
shot one
and
more time.
up shallower back in 2015. And that dive started 600 meters shallower than
left.
we are today. So it started about 1,900 and some odd meters. And there were no Plurigorgia seen on that dive. So one of the values of doing these different depths, see the difference in the community as you change your depth. So the observation of Plurigorgia today was interesting.
Great. Thank you very much, Scott. And Pilot, I think we're good. And I wonder if we could get that black coral that was behind it.
Yeah, copy that, Washley. It's just finishing up the beauty shot.
Okay.
Okay, clear.
Yeah, that was a spectacular, nice still image of the bamboo coral polyps there. We'll definitely be able to use that.
It was.
Yeah, still there.
There it is.
Oh, sorry.
There he is. We don't have Tina Molitsova on the line yet. I have a guess on this one, but I'd like to. Scott's also very experienced with black corals as well. I'd be very interested to get his opinion on this one.
Rotating.
It's definitely a black coral.
Yeah, you know, the ones that have this sort of morphology get a little
Maxine?
bit tricky to me.
Copy.
Some of the possibilities,
That other coral's
Bassipathes,
right
I
in
don't
front,
think
so I
that's
can't
what
really
it is,
get closer
because
to
the
it from this
branches
angle.
start so high. There's something called alternipathes, and I see that the branches coming off the main stem there do alternate on the left and right side as you go up, so that's a possibility. The only other one would be umbellapathes, and I'm not convinced that this is umbellapathes. The branches aren't all coming out from a central point, so possibly alternipathes, but I'd like to hear what you think, Chris.
Actually, the two possibilities, I was just logging this as umbellapathes or alternipathes. I'm not that familiar with alternipathes. That's something new, I think, that Tina described. But just, you know, you do get these umbellapathes
full
that
screen?
seem to only have one plume that comes out of the top. I'm just looking at this very, very long stalk, which is more characteristic of umbellapathes, at least in my experience, rather than bathopathes.
The problem with umbellapathes is that the
Sorry,
side
I'm gonna
branches
go center on the
themselves
stalk.
branch, and these do
Center
not
is
have
copy.
pinnules that are unbranched. And that's why I'm not crazy about that umbellapathes idea.
Okay, so then what we'll do is call it alternipathes
The
question
video
mark.
is clear, pulling out.
Leave it at that.
Copy that.
Yeah,
So-
pretty good.
Yeah, thank you, Scott.
yellow spot stuff is different.
Copy science. Do you have any interest on yellow stuff in center?
No, not really, but we would. It looks like something died there, probably an old sponge.
Copy that. Yeah.
Got my rock glasses on right now. You think you could get that rock that's over to the right of the lasers right now, that very angular one? Is that? It's. I mean, Dave Wright got a nice rock yesterday. Don't you want to beat him, Sean?
I do not. I don't know if it's a good idea to get in a competition with Dave Wright. I don't think there's any winning on my side for that.
Would this
ends
work?
in a
I mean,
damaged
in the open basket, just because that's a beauty, if it was possible.
That's 30 and 30. Yeah, I think that's kind of big. Sorry, Wesley. If it was just in one length, one dimension that long, we could do it, but it's like a triangular. I don't think that would fit.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
So, Chris, do you think that white spot in the background is a base, or do you think it's
Straight
something
left of
worth checking
lasers.
out?
I'm not really sure. I'm
Bunch
looking at rocks right now. You're looking at
of
white
dark
dots on
purple.
the background. So we each have our priorities. Pilot, how about this one down to? Yeah, you're going down to it already. Would that work right there?
That one right there?
Yeah.
I think that is a much better candidate. You want me to poke it?
Yeah, please. I'll bet it's free, so that'd be great.
Truck pilot, are you happy with position?
Yeah, we're okay.
Copy.
Yeah, I guess the real issue is whether it's just the slab or whether it's three-dimensional, because we need
Yeah, I can't
something
turn
with
port
girth,
It's going off to my port side.
as we
going up
mentioned
and
on
down.
multiple dives,
If I
or
turn
almost
port,
every
that's
dive
right on
when
here.
we're grabbing rocks.
And I can't come down because the current is pushing it over him.
Yeah, the tricky part of grabbing rocks, those of you who have been following the Okeanos cruises, is this manganese crust, this black layer that coats all of these rocks here, can glue them to the seafloor. And when you bring a rock up that's manganese crusted, that crust can get very brittle and break off very easily. But when it's down here and it's hydrated and on the seafloor, it is like super glue.
Sure you have enough flow? Yep,
And it's
you're good.
almost impossible to wrench your rock free of manganese crusted
Arms coming live. 3, 2,
manganese
1.
if it's attached to the substrate. So we always look for rocks that are kind of in a little bit of a pile like this. Is that John?
Yes, it is.
All right, John, what do you think? We're going to get a look to see how 3D this rock is, but so far, does it look okay to you?
Yeah, I think probably most anything from this after rocks is going to be good, unless, like you said, it's flabby. It looks pretty good.
And that's the voice of Dr. John Smith from the School of Ocean and Earth Science Technology at the University of Hawaii. It's moving.
It's free. Do you want to
Now-
zoom before we grab it?
We'll see how flabby it is, as John described it.
How? Sorry, say it again.
He said it. I think he meant slabby. I said flabby, but in other words, how thin it is.
Copy that. I can push it over.
Oh, a little
yeah.
slabby.
I agree.
How about the one over to the left from it that looks kind of roundish? Right to the left of the manipulator now. Or even that angular one. I'm not sure if that would... Yeah. That's looking loose. How about it, John? It looks less slabby. Oh, it's definitely
that's a
not
nice
slabby.
one.
That's a nice one.
Copy that.
Can you see that, John? I know you're
Say
getting
again?
caught up
Sorry.
with the
I
video.
was just saying to be careful to not roll it down the hill.
You let all the dust out from under it.
Yeah, I was waiting for a
video.
better
Did
view
you
of it.
Not want dust? I thought that was a...
I think it looks pretty round.
Sorry, bad joke.
Which is good as long as it has girth, right, John?
Girth is good.
All right, video. Enhance.
You want to lift up high and
Copy.
tilt up
I got
high.
your camera. Stop.
I think it looks pretty good. It's got some angles on this side. Well, no, that was shadows, I guess. I think that's a good one, pilot. What do you? I think we're waiting for John to comment, but
Yeah, I think go ahead and keep that one.
okay, we're good to go on that one.
Copy that. Should open the box lit up.
John, as we stow this, can you give us a little bit of a background on why we want to collect these and what kind of information you can gain from them?
Yeah. So you want to go for it?
Trying to think what to do. I could set it.
With
yeah,
the claw
presumably this
with
is
the rock in it.
volcanic
I don't know if I
rock
wanna do
covered
that.
in
Okay.
tiny stuff. So
I don't know how. Like it's grip force 8,
you
but
you can do
if it
analysis
slips, I don't wanna
on
lose it.
on the volcanic portion
let's
to
see.
look at the geochemistry, tell
Set
something
it
about
over here.
the makeup
Yeah,
of
it's
the
pretty round,
original
yeah, that's
magma.
All right, let me just. Do you want to bring
Or
the starboard in?
Yes.
And it's good. You discern
just set
different
it and then move
volcanoes,
it.
different volcanic
Starboard coming in.
provinces. From
Want me to get
that,
mini Zeus on that?
Also use this
Sure.
for dating,
Alright.
age dating, to
Winging in.
basically just simply find out how old
But
the
Put this
lava
in
is,
the
and then a minimum age for the melt. Then you combine all that
It's full
data
wing
with
in.
all the other excuse me, all the other all the other samples from the other seamounts to build a picture story.
Great, thanks.
Following you.
Yeah, thank you, John.
Stopped.
Starboard. All right, we've got our first rock sample, which always
Do you want to move it? Or are you happy with it there?
makes me a little bit more relieved.
If we need it, we could always move it later.
Okay.
I'm a biologist,
I'm
and I
going
like
to
sponges, and
bring the
I
wing
even like
back
sea
out.
stars, believe it or not. But I also recognize that rocks are extremely important, as John mentioned, so it's great to always get one in the bag.
That's
You're going to let that go, aren't you, Chris?
Well, I assumed you were just doing that negative thing in reverse.
It's true.
I got a question for you, Chris. Why is the geology important to the biology? The
Well,
different structures and stuff.
yeah, so there's a whole sort of area of biology that's referred to as landscape ecology, and it mostly applies to animals that are living on or near the seafloor, but it also can apply to animals living well above the seafloor as well. And it's really it's a study of the interaction between the animals and the physical environment. And we're finding out as we do more and more of these dives that seafloor topography really matters,
Right. With the
because a lot of the
8
deep
meters
water
or so.
animals are filter feeding,
The tether going right under
and
me. It's coming
to
up under me.
optimize their filtering ability, they're
Yep,
usually,
watching
we
it
find them
I
often
can make
in
the occasional
areas where
turn to
current
port
flow
to
is
check
fairly
that.
high. And so
But
that's
I
it.
need a high
And
delta because the
topography
current
is
blowing
the type of topography can
overhand.
actually affect the
and I
the
can't
flow
have
of
it
current
underneath with these heats.
on the deep sea
So I think
floor,
this is
and
the
so
only
that's
option
it.
right
It
now.
really matters. But also, animals need a firm place to land and
Yes, it
attach,
should.
because they
Yeah,
can
we'll
grow
just move
there
slow.
for hundreds, if not
And we'll
thousands
just
of
keep a
years
good
in
eye
some
on
case.
sonar.
If it's a small rock,
Yeah,
and as
definitely.
they grow, it falls over, it's catastrophic for them. If it's a nice, firm, consolidated rock, then they could be good to go and sit there for a long, long time without any worry whatsoever. So it matters, and we're starting to understand it better with all of these dives.
Would you also consider bed sponges geology?
I would not consider dead sponges geology, but that's a good question, Roland, because they're mostly made of silica, and they actually
Might make a
accumulate
quick turn
sediment
for it.
once they die, so they're more geologic than
Yeah,
they
copy
are
that.
biologic in that sense.
There is a similarity
Yeah, we
to
can see what tether does
geology
every
in that they
time.
form a substrate. There are always dynamics between geo and bio, as much as we sort of separate them artificially
things growing
when
on
we
that
do
stem
our
to the
studies.
left,
The truth
this
is
one off
that
screen.
the two are inexorably linked.
Sorry, video studio.
There were two things
So,
growing off that dead
you know,
sponge.
for example, all of this manganese crust,
Two red
even
sticks
though a lot of it is precipitated
off the
by
left side.
seawater,
do at
there's
least
actually a
15, I
microbial
think.
aspect to
Okay.
it as well. It catalyzes.
Windows 090.
There,
Yep.
something that's
I'm
not
at
being
090
seen
now.
is how small microbes actually affect
I'm gonna have to
the
turn back,
precipitation
but
of. Oh, there's a little black swimming thing off to the right.
Bridge
there.
RV nav.
So this is a
Go ahead,
dead
Arvina.
sponge
Yeah, you guys
stock.
ready for a move?
Yeah, I know. It looks like they're settling
All right,
in the
range.
Do you want to zoom on
15
items growing on
meters.
stock?
Bearing
Not
090.
really, but we
Speed
could.
0.2 knots.
Yeah, I don't see any brittle stars or
15
anything
meters,
else. We
bearing
could do a snap
090,
zoom
speed
on it.
decimal 2.
Snap
Well,
zoom.
there is stuff on it, isn't there? I didn't see that. Ah, okay, some beautiful tubularid hydrozoans.
Is that good? Are you good with that science, or do you want more?
Pretty good with it. When video's ready,
All right, video whenever you're happy.
Scott.
Oh, tilt down.
Arvina, bridge move
Yeah.
at 15 meters, bearing 090, speed decimal 2 initiated.
Hydroid that you're looking at on the base, it's got a bit of a tube that it's living in that it constructs itself. That's that sort of golden yellow color. And you see the long tentacles, and if you were to see inside that ring of tentacles, there would be another smaller ring of tentacles around the mouth, and that sort of pinkish bubblegum material you're seeing is actually the gonads that are in a ring between those other two rings of tentacles.
Thank you, Scott. So yeah, I didn't initially see these, and so I'm glad we did stop to zoom because these are really
Can you get the
beautiful
lower right
animals. And you got looks like a barnacle there as well. I was just assuming it had all these small hydroids that are usually overgrowing everything that's dead down here. But this is still a type of hydroid, but it's two different varieties there, the really small ones, and then this beautiful tubularid that we're looking at right now.
Video's clear.
Come on.
Another thing about the one we're looking at, they appear to be solitary. I can't see the large ones. I can't see that they're connected. And a lot of the hydroids that we see are forming colonies, either upright as some kind of a fan or a bush, or in a mat or a ribbon.
Oh, look what we have coming to the right.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, wow is right. Look at,
That doesn't look like your run-of-the-mill.
well, we only know this is Caliphacus spa. We don't even know what subgenus
Yeah, I wanna
it
sit
belongs
down
in.
close.
It has been
Yeah,
collected
copy.
before.
Looking for
We know it
associates.
exists, and we know it exists in Hawaii as well as down here in Johnston. And this is a stalked rosellid sponge, so it's still a glass sponge, but this is in a different
I'm gonna turn
family
that
than the
graphical
one we
monitor
imaged
back
earlier,
on.
I think.
Okay.
And this is in the rosellidae, and this is something we call Caliphacus. And
Video.
If you
this
have a
particular
minute now,
species is characterized by having
I'll
all
look
of
at my
these
main
protuberances
HD,
all
see what
around
you
the
think
face
about
of it.
that tether.
Unlike some of the other species of Caliphacus that can have
That's all right.
sort of a smooth
I mean,
ball
you got
surface
I
over
think
it.
it looks
Big
like
This is
delta,
a
is that
positive term between
These are oscula
Could be a
that are on the ends
illusion.
of these, and I think actually the
You're looking
water
down it.
exits out of these protuberances. And you've got this little mesh
My
over the
lap
larger
is
holes on the end
Arvina,
of
bridge
these
move
protuberance,
complete.
and that presumably
complete.
helps
Thanks,
keep
Richard.
animals from that it doesn't want to enter into the sponge from
Okay,
entering.
pods. Ship is done moving.
Copy that.
2,500 meters, so I probably got a
Beautiful
5-minute
image,
delay.
Going full screen,
Caliphacus
tilt down.
species.
Tilt them down.
That was a
It's a
short
pretty good size one, too,
1.5 meter
for,
move.
something that's
Good.
largely made of glass.
I'm going
It's,
to kill lasers real quick. Cut that.
Oh, lasers coming off. Lasers off.
10 meters, so fairly sizable animal.
Yeah, that's a good one. There's a
Video's
long-legged shrimp, our friend
double-clicking
on
that.
every dive.
So you're good video?
I think that's the same one
Okay.
that's following us around.
Come on.
So wherever we go, that shrimp follows
is.
us.
Yeah, those are two
Well,
instances.
the species is
Do you want to zoom on
definitely
shrimp watch leads?
We'll do a snap zoom. It's
All right.
nematocarcinus. We sort of
video,
joke, of course, shrimp
quick
can't follow us
snaps.
around, but they're always down here.
Yeah,
Just
we always see it.
They're very
Oh, is that
successful.
It's a hydroid, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bryozoan to the left.
Oh, yeah. We should, once we finish the shrimp, that little thing to the upper left would be great.
You can go for.
We have somebody who's participating. I think it's Megan McCullough, who was very interested in bryozoans, and I hope she's looking right now. If I'm not mistaken, this is something we thought could
Actually, how close can you get to that?
Come on.
That's very small
bryozoan
polyps.
a while back.
Just have to avoid this other item.
Thank you. We're going to take a look at that thing. It's the mystery thing.
Our video coming.
I don't think you've gained anything on it.
Copy that, Copilot.
Scott suggested that what we just saw could be more of a hydrozoan than a bryozoan, and
Our video, do you sorry, is it still roughly center?
Slightly off to the upper right. Above the
oh, it's a side view, right? There it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
View now.
Side view actually might be informative if we can. Let's see here. What is that thing?
It's max zoom, unfortunately.
We're looking for little polyps on it. Or is it a sponge? It almost looks like it's got spicules. Scott, what do you think?
Megan McCullough is watching.
Yeah, Megan, what do you think? What?
Yeah, I'm just going to get a clear image here.
Well,
Yeah,
there could be polyps too, Scott.
Well,
yeah,
sure.
without hitting that
hydroid-
other
the hydroid
sponge, that's
colony
about as
would have
close as I can
polyps.
get.
Right. That's what I was sort of pointing out. It almost looks like it does have polyps on it.
Right, yeah, so that's I feel like what I'm seeing, if this were a bryozoan, it would have lophophore structures, and a lophophore is basically a U-shaped ring of tentacles, and so you would see these tentacles extended, but you wouldn't see a polyp itself with tentacles on the end. And you're sure, oh, here we go. Sure it's not a sponge, right?
So Megan says that's a hard one. Could go either way.
Just the
Can't do any better with that angle.
Okay, so hydroid or sponge or bryozoan. We really nailed it down. Okay.
Yeah. Small branching structure, invertebrate.
There we go. Thank you. We keep trying on those things, but we always just keep blanking on them. They're so small. One of these days we'll figure it out. We'll grab a rock and it's got one on it.
We'll keep our eyes peeled to see if we can get one that's in a better location.
Yeah, they're so small, Roland. It's kind of time benefit. You know, I think if we saw a rock
So, did you
that
see
we
you
could
were,
collect
were you
too.
asking, or did you see you were coming? Okay, copy.
Is that a small star
Right,
upper
we're
left?
still
white?
headed up the side. So we actually landed on the west flank of the ridge.
There's a
Copy that.
white structure over
Stand by 1 second,
Yeah.
watch it.
Sure.
I think it's.
Yeah, go for it.
What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, we
Could be a base.
yeah, we
Which
still
camera
have
do you want me to look
bases. Yeah.
Maybe.
Just watch it. It looks right. If anything, yeah, I
don't
agree.
think it's gonna.
I think pilot should do a turn to port, if anything. Do you agree? Okay. All right. Great. I
Keep
think
an
it'll be all
eye
right.
on it.
Yeah.
That is definitely a bolosoma. Now we get a side view.
All right, watch leads. Sorry, I'm back with you.
Let's take a quick zoom on this white star-shaped
Lasers
thing.
on.
Might be a
Copy
base. though.
that. Copilot lasers.
Gonna need to rotate right. I think it's gonna be a starfish.
Huh. Annie.
Is it?
Oh, you
think
want
it is a
other
sea
right
star.
or this right video?
That one.
Could be.
Copy.
It's moving. It's on
Come
something.
on in video.
Maybe it's... What? Oh! That's the craziest thing I've seen in a while.
It's wiggling.
Oh, yeah.
Maxim.
It's on a. Is it on a black coral?
Folded up.
What is
yeah.
it on?
How close can you get? Is that it?
Coral.
There's a coral coming out of
My
that.
toes are hitting the
Coral
wall,
or
so yeah,
sponge?
it's level with the camera, and that's.
Well, it looks like
I
it's
could
a,
rotate, but you
we
might
can
lose
say
the
that.
angle.
Yeah,
How dead it is.
it's
That's the
Try it.
problem.
yeah. So this is definitely.
Pleurogorgia at the bottom tip.
Oh, is that the coral is Pleurogorgia? Well, it's a goniasterid of some kind. I think
Yes.
this. Are we at maximum zoom?
Maxim.
Video, come wide real quick. Let me see if I can.
Confirm science. We're going to just reposition to see if we can give you a better view.
Thank you.
He's kind of in there.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit more rotated towards the port. Could look underneath us.
So that's both toes touching wall, pretty much. So that's as close as we can get.
Okay.
Go zoom in.
Tilt.
Huh.
So it looks
That's a weird
spongish
looking
at the
thing.
top.
Well, it's a goniasterid that I don't immediately recognize, which means it's probably new. I'll bet that we're going to find this on eating something else in the next couple of moments. So I'm going to hold off on collecting this one, but this is definitely a sea star to look out for, and it's feeding on whatever the stock is. But these are sort of how we understand ecological relationships. We discover something new, eating else that is something new. So, but it has very different plates on the surface. It's smooth. The marginal plates around the edges are smooth. It's not one of those cookie stars, although it's very similar to it. But like I said, but I think all things considered, I bet we'll find a slightly easier one to collect on a bigger food item soon. I think we saw one of these earlier in one of the other expeditions at this depth range. So,
This is on real quick.
yeah,
Okay.
it's interesting.
All right.
I give kudos to our video cutter Annie for seeing it just out of the blue like that. Thank you.
That reddish thing lower right of lasers. Just below the cracked rock.
Yeah, there's a lot of cracked rocks.
A little more right. And now you're right above it.
Copy that right here.
Yeah. Some staining where the rock broke, I think.
Oh, that's right where my toe was.
Yeah.
So that's what's underneath.
Oh, there's a lot of talus on the bottom there. Did you?
Copy.
Loud and clear.
Watch leads. Anything else? What's next?
I think we can move up the slope.
Copy that.
Thank
Moving
you.
up.
So is that starboard rail? Is that what happened?
Is that new?
I'm pointed. I might be lighting up port, but I shouldn't be lighting up starboard. You want me to try cycling it?
Pilot, watch lead.
Yeah, watch lead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I just was speaking with Chris here, and I think he probably whispered in your ear as well that the swells are coming up a little bit, and they're a little bit concerned. So what we were just talking about is maybe we can get up to the crest of this ridge pretty quickly and maybe forego some of the close-ups, and then if we have to bail early, at least we get a look at the crest since we're on the west side right now.
Copy that. We can do that.
Yeah, and then once we get to the crest, everybody out there,
No,
then
20
we can
meters?
slow down, and
Do-
it's not very
yeah.
far.
Right.
It's
Yes.
just a little ways up.
Keep
But,
it.
090.
it would be good
Copy that. Watch leads. We're putting a ship move in now, and then one before this.
Bridge, RV nav.
Try to get up there.
Yeah, I would like to
Thank you
move
very much.
20 meters, bearing
So we're
090,
literally,
speed
you told me,
0.2 knots.
Yeah, 50 meters or so from 50 to 100 meters from the
Good copy.
crest itself, which is due east of us.
That camera didn't come back now.
That's correct. I checked that monitor too. So yours.
Oh, you put something else.
ROV nav, Reg, move initiated.
Move initiative. Thanks, Rich. Ground faults.
Give us a slight camera tilt up.
Looking up.
Nice and steep. Yeah, Nav, this is only supposed to be 30-degree slope, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, it's a little higher.
Quite a bit steeper than that. Yep.
Be 60.
I agree.
And Nav, I'm not seeing anything on the DC bus return that would indicate a problem there.
Good.
And those relays aren't swapped or anything silly like that, right?
Correct.
It's util cam starboard.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, we may be able to finish the dive today. You just never know. So I'm glad we put one rock in the bin. Yeah, I think yesterday was sort of a testimony of how quickly the communities can change at these locations, where we were seeing next to nothing for 3/4 of the dive, and we were seeing animals, but in very low abundance here and there. We did get some good close-ups, but nothing, no huge community until we got, maybe 3/4 of the way through the dive, and then the animals just started exploding right near the tip of the volcanic cone that we were on, and the summit was just covered with life. It was actually spectacular. So that's obviously something that we think is quite important to document in the monument.
More of that yellow staining on the top right.
Starboard rails back.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
It does have a pretty good...
Could do a snap zoom on that.
lens,
Yeah, it probably is just a reflection, or maybe a snap
not a reflection.
to satisfy our
Sorry, video. I was
curiosity.
talking about something separate about reflection. But yeah, we can do a zoom on this. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, we were just talking about this, our starboard rail cam.
Looks like some kind of discoloration on the rock.
Sorry, video.
Okay, well, now we know
What do we know?
what the yellow staining matter is. It's yellow staining matter.
Yeah, it looks like it's chipped off the bottom, so
Nav, when did you put that
Yeah.
one in?
sort of looks geological.
41, 3 minutes ago.
Okay, I don't think
Okay,
it started
thank you,
to move
pilot.
yet, so that makes sense.
Yeah, some type of a very small, it looks like Pleurogorgia. Tiny little guy.
Zero decimal 2 knots.
Yeah, normal ship speed.
ROV nav, bridge move complete.
Move complete. Thanks, Bridge.
I have the wall out at 30
I
now.
overheard the pilot describing
Copy.
the slope on this particular west side of the ridge as being around 60 degrees. So that's a pretty serious slope, as you can see just from the camera angle
Do you see
alone.
any reason we shouldn't do another
Yeah,
20?
look at that.
I haven't
Very
really
dramatic.
moved.
Very
How
dramatic.
long was first move?
20 meters.
20, so you probably, when was it called in?
5 minutes ago.
So it's
Yeah,
assuming you
get going
didn't swing yet. So we have 20 meters plus
Yeah.
whatever that is. Where are you saying slope
I'm
at?
seeing slope at 30.
So I said let's wait a couple
Okay.
minutes.
Sure.
Just in case. And then we can do another 20 if it all looks well.
Sure.
I agree. What, let's see, you got, let's compare high pack depth with yours. You got 52.
Yeah, I think it's right. It's just a lot steeper than we thought.
Yeah.
Sirius, I have 254.
Pilot, are you
0.
feeling any current while you're
So
up a
it's
little
30
bit off
meters
the
off.
bottom?
It's pretty calm here. I can't really say there's any significant current washing.
I think it's
Okay.
from west to east based on the tether.
Thank you. So it'll be very interesting if when we get up to top whether that changes.
Yeah.
We sometimes believe this is the lee of the ridge, so it could be in a little bit of a current shadow, but who knows?
I think I'm seeing a little bit from west to east based on the tether, but not very strong right now.
West to east. Okay, thank you. Well, that bodes well. It's a cross ridge current.
And Chris, why would a cross ridge current be a good thing?
Yeah, so our suspicion is, the question is, why would a cross-ridge current be a good thing? And our suspicion is that these ridges that extend for, in some cases, miles from the summit of the seamount and the flanks of the seamount
starboard.
function as walls. They're barriers
Kind of
to water
whichever
flow.
side it
So if
wants to
water
pull
flow
to,
is
I'm
coming up directly
helping it out.
perpendicular to one of
Copy
these
that.
ridges, it's this barrier. And it's got to figure out, I mean, water can figure out things, but water's got to get around this ridge somehow. And if the ridge is very elongate, then it has only one choice, and that's kind of to go up and over for the most part. And so when you have a situation like that and you get up near the top, then the water is really, it can be ripping on the top of these ridges, and that's what a lot of filter feeding sessile corals and sponges really go for. So that's why we view it as a good sign to have a cross-ridge current. You have a chrysogorgid, maybe geniculata type coral right there.
You want a quick look while we wait for ship?
Now
Sure,
I think we
let's
can
take
do
a snap zoom on this.
Okay. Our video snaps. So come closer to it.
And we're going to ask Dr. Scott France from the University of Louisiana, Lafayette, for his opinion on this.
Pilot, you okay with 20 more?
This is a member of the Chrysogorgiidae.
Okay.
It is it's an octocoral. We've
Bridge
seen
RBNF.
several of these over the last few
Yeah,
days.
I'd like to move, same as
This is
last.
the
Range
Chrysogorgia.
20 meters, bearing 090 degrees,
Basically,
speed
it's
0.2
family
knots.
that translates to golden
20
coral.
meters,
You can
bearing
see through the
090,
transparent
speed
tissue
decimal
that
Good
the
copy.
shell is golden color. And again, the identifying the species in particular requires counting the branches and
now look
position
at that
and so
in,
on. So I'm not going to be
type
able to give you a species name. But what we can see as we
Definitely
zoomed in there is that there were two
ROV
squat
nav, bridge,
lobsters
move initiated.
living in the branches of
Move initiated.
that
Thanks, Rich.
colony. It's a very common observation.
I agree.
Those squat lobsters appear to use the coral as a host and probably for protection.
Yeah, thank you, Scott, for that. Those of you who were listening yesterday, we were treated by having Mary Wickstein from Texas A&M call in and talk about some of the arthropods we were imaging. So hopefully she might have some time a little bit later on today to join us again and inform us of these very fascinating arthropods that live with corals and crawling around the seafloor here. That's a steep one.
Yeah, the inner ones.
Is that yeah?
Oh, talking to Nav.
Copy.
It's got a range on that wall, 28 meters from Sirius right now, 27. And we'll watch it as it approaches.
I'll leave the measuring tool there.
Perfect, thank you.
Don't let that thing roll down on
there's
you.
There's a nice little boulder block.
I don't think that one will fit
That we,
in the rock box.
I kind of get the impression
Be sure
we're
not
going to
to
fly
poke
out
this one.
from away from that.
Yeah, might be a good idea.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go to the side, watch it.
Sure, thank
Out
you.
of its projected
We got
way
a
for it
few,
to fall.
more Caliphacus sponges we can ignore for the moment. But do we have a coral or something on this left side of the boulder we could
This one
snap
right under
on?
the laser.
Just to, I can't see what's really going on over there on the left side.
Left side.
Looks like some type of
center.
sticks.
Yeah, sticks is what
Video
Video and I
snaps
were
there?
both looking at.
I'll bet they're sponges.
What are these?
Come back.
Huh.
Yeah, is right.
Maybe leftovers from some else, from sponge.
Well, Scott was telling
Ship
us
has
that some
moved down 1 to 7
amphipods
meters.
create
I think I
like
see.
things.
I think these are
So,
those.
Roughly
Oh,
half
here's some
distance
amphipods
from the
on
wall,
the
but I
tips,
had to
though.
bring
Yeah,
it
that's
up.
what I was wondering whether
Copy.
they're
Sounds
making it or something. I don't.
Yeah,
Oh
I'm
no, wait,
happy.
they're cauterized. These are cauterized
safe
sponges.
distance.
See the
Oh, yeah.
spicules there?
Okay, yeah.
You just needed the right lighting view on it. So a
ROV
field of
average,
cauterized
Move complete. Thanks, Bridge.
carnivorous demo
Just one off
sponges,
screen top.
which is kind of cool.
Is it
right?
on video?
That one right there with the brown on the top. Just right there. Hold that shot.
Stopped.
And these almost look like they could be in something I think is called a Bissocladia or something, but I'm going to go on to the Okeanos online animal guide, which anybody can go on to, and look at over 1,700 really cool pictures of deepwater creatures of all kinds.
Okay, I think
Well, I
we're
was
clear.
wrong about the Bissocladia. It's actually, I was
Good,
thinking
come
of
on.
Asbestopluma.
After this, Sean,
Well, it
can you
started
go
with
above
A,
the rock
so
and just
I
take a
was
peek
right
out?
there.
Yeah, make me feel better.
Appropriately named.
And Sirius looks
Yeah.
fine. It's just,
Absolutely.
I don't think I've
Yeah, thank you,
seen your main
pilot,
Zeus
for
look
that
up and
zoom.
out
That was
in a
productive.
minute is all.
Yep, some nice
Okay.
boulders.
Yeah,
All right.
look at this.
Coming
Oh,
further to starboard, losing you.
Yeah, I feel comfortable now. Sean,
Copy that.
thanks.
Co-pilot LS center. If you don't want to turn.
No, it's for the tether that I'm doing. I'm coming back to port. I'm just trying to get it off to one side or the other.
Copy.
You're good.
Okay.
We can just go straight.
Spiny on the rock down to the lower left there.
could be a crinoid, but we could
I don't
again
know,
get
it
a
doesn't
snap soon.
Look crinoidy.
Video snaps it.
It is a crinoid. Huh.
Are you happy
Okay,
with that?
yeah, that's fine.
Copy.
Thanks.
Well,
Thought might have been something eating a crinoid, but I live in hope.
That move was complete 3 minutes ago, so probably got 2 minutes
know
to
what
swing
I
or so.
hope for? I hope
Two,
one
3
day to
minutes
see
to
a
get to
sponge
swing.
eating a
Plus-
sea star.
okay,
Now, wouldn't that
copy.
be a treat, Annie? What do you think?
Is there swing left before
You know,
we put
believe
last
it or
one?
not, there's actually a coral,
like
and
3
a
or 4
tropical
minutes
coral
total?
that eats
Yep.
the crown
I
of
think so.
thorns starfish.
Copy. So we
It's
can wait.
Really?
Yeah, it's bizarre. I have to
minute
go
or
look it
two.
up as far as the
I
name,
don't
but I
know.
was reading a short account,
I'm
and
pretty comfortable.
it can actually
More
it's sort
large
of like
rocks
a,
upper left.
oh, I think it's a
Yes.
sessile coral or something,
lot.
but it can
Sirius's view.
reach over and sort of take bites out of the crown of thorns when it attacks. It's a
Whoa.
strange critter.
Oh, that's wild.
I didn't read a lot of ecology to it. It was in coral reefs a couple of years ago. I mean, the journal.
Well, those crown of thorns starfishes in shallow water, they're not small either. They're pretty good size.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that one of your beasts, or is that a stump down there?
Snap on white right next to laser.
Snap zoom left
Yeah,
to the
snap it.
laser.
It's like it was one of yours.
not,
A little dead sponge stuff.
it's something dead, whatever it is.
No sediment. No, it's just
Sediment,
sediment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sediment.
But all of these linear projections that are coming off the rock look more like those cloudorizids.
Yeah.
Seems to be quite a few of them. Sort of a wall of spongy death.
Stick to the left of lasers.
Yeah,
on
for
the
anything
edge
that
of the
happens to
screen.
be blown
I'd be
along
okay with
right
that
next
move
to
if
that
you guys are-
boulder that's
Six to
small.
left.
I think 20 is a good
Yep.
distance. Or
Yeah.
Give us 20.
Happy.
090
I love
still
these
look good.
promontories, these giant
That's fine,
cliffs.
Okay.
Just so
We can't
beautiful.
really tell the local relief is.
We were talking.
A
Oh,
lot
what's
more than
okay? It's another
Bridge,
question.
RV nav.
Is this what you wanted?
Go ahead, Arvinath.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a,
like another
there's just a
move,
big
same as last.
spike
Range
snake.
20 meters, bearing 090, speed 0.2 knots.
Range 20 meters, bearing 090, speed decimal 2.
Is that a
Is that
closed up? It's a closed up
Orange
icidid,
dot.
isn't it?
No, there's a little orange ball on the wall.
Orange ball.
Oh, up
Top
to
of
the
screen.
upper right, yeah.
What is that? A
Oh, yeah.
siphonophore?
I think it is.
It is.
Right you are.
Wow. Thanks
ROV
again,
bridge
Annie.
move initiated.
Move initiated. Thanks, Chris.
So this is a benthic siphonophore. This is one of the really rare
this
treats
one
we
for a
get
while?
to see when we're down here, and it's in a bizarre place.